Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Entrepreneur Mind Speak. I'm Lauren with Creme de Mint Design, a branding and packaging design agency. And I'm here with my co-host, Natalie.
Hi, I'm Natalie. I'm the founder of Cloud Create, a web development agency based in Tampa.
And today we'd like to welcome Lori Kranczer. Lori, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you. I'm so excited to join you.
Yeah, we're super excited to have you today. And we'd love to hear you tell us a little bit about yourself and your story about how you ended up creating a kid shampoo.
Yeah. So my background is I'm a former practicing attorney, and this is going back decades. And I left the practice of law to work in the nonprofit sector, and I've been doing endowment work and plan giving, legacy giving for nonprofits for a long time. Then created my own consulting firm about 6 years ago, and so I work with nonprofits and individuals that want to give back, philanthropists. But I do love to create new businesses. So I also created a cafe in Brooklyn when I moved to a new neighborhood, and I just had my daughter, and I had a 2-year-old as well, and there was no good coffee in the neighborhood. So I created a space that was family friendly, had a side room for sing-alongs and story times, and I mean, it was from scratch. And so that was quite an interesting project. It was fantastic. I sold that, and then I started working on this other project. And I like to think, I start businesses when I see a need. And I created Raising Junior actually quite a few years ago, and then had to put it on hold during the pandemic, and then relaunched it essentially right now. So right now we're in the relaunch. It's pretty exciting, and it's a personal care product line for children with sensitivities and sensory needs.
What does that mean? Can you elaborate a little bit more on that point? Like, what is it when I think of shampoo, I don't think of, that it's very sensory in itself.
Yeah, so I have two children, like I mentioned, and they are neurodiverse, and it's been an incredible roller coaster ride, and really interesting to learn all about this as they've been growing. And so both of them have some sensory issues, and we learned about this sensory processing disorder, where there's certain scents and smells and textures and things that are really offensive, I guess I should say, to some individuals. So my son, when he was little, and still, quite frankly, doesn't like certain smells, or you could tell, like the fidgets, constantly with the fidgets, or biting at the part of the shirt, the neckline, and things like that, like sensory input, right? And so that was him. And so it turned out that he also had eczema and some skin sensitivities and allergies. And this is years ago when he was little, and I used one of those kids lines, those shampoos on his body wash, and he broke out in a rash, like completely covering his body, like red hives all over. They weren't itchy, but he was just sitting there, looked like an alien. And so I called the pediatrician, and he's like, listen, even though it says natural, doesn't mean that you're not going to react to it. Essential oils, things like that are still, can cause reactions to individuals, kids and adults. So I went on a journey to find something that would be suitable for him. And I really couldn't find anything that was a stripped down, very natural formula with not a lot of additives, like really just only the core ingredients that you needed. And also pleasing to his sensory issues. He didn't want to smell anything, those fruity smells or like any of those scents. Even the textures would, and now you'll probably notice it more as you use products. So the shampoos that, you put into your palm and it runs through your fingers, or if it's like really thick, these are all potentially offensive to some kids, with sensory issues. So we went through a process. I found a small batch producer in Oregon, and we created the product. And I just created because I needed something for him, but it was so good that I was giving to friends and family, and there were all these unintended benefits. Because people that just had allergies, or because it's gluten-free and vegan, all these really wonderful things. It's very clean. really was helpful to people that even had curly hair. It made it very relaxing to the curls, so made it because it's very moisturizing. So all these different things. So we wound up putting on hold for a bit. Um, but we relaunched it because we just saw a need, and especially with all these different things that are in products that are causing allergies, we really, thought it was something that would be good for all kids with sensitivities, not just sensory issues, but sensitivities as well.
Well, that is amazing and definitely something that I never would have thought of before, but I'm sure that's something that hits you in the face as a parent when you start experiencing these things. I'm even like, wow, I want to try it. I haven't found a shampoo that, knocks my socks off yet. So I'm definitely going to be ordering from you.
Yeah, it's, we say that it's, we focus on kids really, but we say it's for all the humans in the household. So, anyone can use it. I use it, especially because I've had eczema, and psoriasis gone. Now, I don't want to, I'm not saying any claims, that it's, medical or, that it will get rid of everything, but because it's so moisturizing and all those different additives that really can irritate people are removed, that it's just such a clean product. So, and it's one product that you can use for hair and skin. And what I love about it is that it has glycerin in it, vegetable glycerin, because it is vegan. It glides over the skin and the hair. So when you put it in your hair, what you would shampoo and you have like hair, like the shampoo's like stuck in one side, then you need more to like for the other side. This
Mhm.
glides all over and glides over the skin. So you just bath time for kids or shower time for kids is quicker because the product just moves all over the body a lot faster, and it's the skin feels nice and slick afterwards. So it's a really great product. There's no added fragrance in it. It does certainly, there's nothing out there that is scent free, so everything kind of has a scent that's natural, so maybe water. So it has a very slight aloe scent to it because there's a lot of aloe in here, but there's no added fragrance. But if it's very mild and very faint, and that it doesn't linger on the skin either, so people around you won't feel like they won't smell.
That's amazing. And what did you have any challenges as far as creating this product, since it is such a new product? And a lot of natural products, like you're saying, they still have smells and essential oils and whatever things that can cause irritation. So I imagine you might have had some struggles there.
I think the struggles were, well, first I've mentioned before we started out, we created in Portland, Oregon, and we did move to New Jersey, the next place that we had to manufacture, because that challenge was that there's a lot of shipping costs, and we're trying to be as sustainable as possible. So, and I'm located in New York City, so we did do some adjustments to make sure that we're as sustainable as possible. So that was a bit of a challenge using even the actual product, like the packaging. We are using a place that has excess packaging from other manufacturers. So we're reusing kind of, they weren't used before. It's not waste, but it's excess. So we're able to use that. So it's not just sitting in a warehouse or in landfill. So we're really excited about that. So those are some of the things we're trying to do, is to be as sustainable as possible right now. The challenges were that I think part of it is that we always wanted to, you feel like you want to add more. And I think that's what happens with a lot of products. Like, oh, let's add this, or let's add, but you don't need it. So that was a little bit of a challenge when we went through the, with the cosmetic chemist, to not overdo it, because it doesn't need that. We only wanted the core ingredients to make sure that kids are clean and that they felt comfortable in their skin and that they were moisturized and it was gentle. So that's really how we landed on what this is. But it was definitely a challenge because I feel like, oh, well, as an adult, I like certain scents, but we had to really think about, what do these kids want?
What lessons have you learned along the way that you wished you knew when you started?
Let's, I think that I needed more people to help me along the way. And so the reason why this sat for a little bit is that it was just me as a passion project to launch. And while I was so busy during the pandemic with my other business, two kids that were home, doing remote learning, it was quite a challenge, and everything was shut down in New York City. So What I did recently to when we did the relaunch is really to gather people to help support the product. And I'm so lucky that so many people are um, aligned with our mission and the, what we're trying to do and the product line that we're trying to build. So they're offering their services, and it's been really wonderful. So I think I should have been asking for help a little sooner, but I'm so grateful for the people that are starting to join me in this journey.
Yeah, it's tough. It's so tough when you're starting a business to do it all on your own. And it's great that now you have found people to help you and to really like make this launch be super successful.
And it's great because the more I talk about it with people, the more I also understand how so many people either have sensitivities to whether it's ingredients or fragrance, and also are neurodiverse. There are so many out there that, but it's really nice to understand that other people are part of this community as well.
But it's really nice to know that, kids that have these things are going to be more and more comfortable, more taken care of. People are more aware. And so I feel like everybody that's known somebody has a special place in their heart for them and are so happy to support products like yours to help make the world more inclusive in that way and more accessible for everyone.
Yeah, I agree. And it's, everyone's story is different and their experience is different. But a lot of these kids, whether it's ADHD, autism, sensory processing disorder, I mean, there's so many different things, really struggle. And, sometimes they're the kid that's not being invited to that birthday party or for a sleepover, because they're a little different. And I like different. I think different is important. I celebrate it, but it is a challenge for some families, depending on, what neurodiversity is being exhibited in their child.
Oh, absolutely. And how, because developing such a product for such a special target audience, how were you able to really make sure for yourself that the product was exactly what was needed? Like, did you get feedback? Did you have, of course, your own children can help give you feedback? I imagine maybe from other parents of children around you. Did you get a lot of feedback in this regard?
Yeah, that's exactly it. So when we were developing it, it took a while. It took longer than I realized to develop products. And we tested them out, with not only with my children, myself, testing, half the body on one, and another product on another. We did a lot of testing, not only in our family, and extended family, but friends, and giving out now, other examples to other individuals also to get their feedback. So that's really where we are right now, is getting more feedback on it. This product we love. It's getting such good reviews from people. People really enjoy it. I will say the one comment on it, because I'm completely transparent, it is not going to lather up like Irish Spring. So because it's natural. So I think people understand that no natural products now. But there are people like my husband that don't feel like they're clean unless they're covered in white foam. And this will not do that. It's not supposed to. So, that takes getting used to. But it's more of a gel-like consistency, and that is why it's very sleek and smooth. Yeah, it's been a great journey. And so, but it's getting a lot of feedback. And this is now our point that we're getting more feedback and understanding not only about this product, and maybe some ways that we may change the packaging for the future. Right now it's a pump, but we want to know from people, do you not want a pump? Do you want a different type of applicator? What other products would you like? Because we're going to go into production or research and development this, later this year for other products to extend the line. So that's where we are right now, try to gain feedback from people.
Amazing. And can you share any like memorable stories from satisfied customers, like what their experiences were and if there's anything that jumps out in your mind?
Let's see. I think that probably the thing that is sticking in my mind is that I have my own podcast, and my one of my advisory committee members, Mara, interviewed me on my podcast about this and as a social venture. And she had told me, she'd never shared with me before, but she had eczema from doing hot yoga. And she used the product and it cleared it up. So that was just amazing to hear live on our podcast that she shared that with me. So it's very effective. For kids, I think they like it. It feels good. I don't think they give too much feedback or not, but certainly parents are telling me that they like the way it feels. It can get through the skin and the hair really quickly. And they like the scent. So, but it's really, most of the feedback has been like that, but I really appreciated Mara's comment about the hot yoga.
Yeah, absolutely.
Eczema is so common in children too. Like that, like I struggled with that as a child. Also adults, of course, but I know especially for children, it can be so uncomfortable. So that's amazing. Not that it's a cure, like you're saying, but it's nice that it can have this nice effect sometimes.
Absolutely, because it's so moisturizing. And also it's quick, so you don't have to maybe be in the bath as long, exposed to the water. Also sensory concerns that we thought about because when one of my kids was smaller, she was scared to get in the bath. She thought there were sharks in there, but it's the bright lights, it's the, getting undressed and being cold and then getting in water. These are all sensory things. And so really want to make sure that the experience is comfortable as we possibly can make it for them, and also quick if they wanted to get out as soon as they could. So she also, because she thought there were sharks, we didn't want a lot of foam. She wanted to be able to see through the water to see what was in there. So just a lot of considerations we took in from like not only my children but other people's kids as we developed the product.
Yeah, I
Amazing.
feel like I had that experience when I was a kid too. I always thought there were things in the water and I was always like scared. So I can totally relate.
Absolutely. You mentioned other products. Are you allowed to tell us a little bit about your future plans or what products you might be developing in the future?
Sure. So there's a bit of a list. We still want to stay true to being clean as possible. So we're not likely going to be adding scents to our product. So unless at some point like there is something that we want to add, but it's really not core to our values. So we are thinking of lots of different things that we're getting feedback from people. So we're looking into balms. Or lip balm. We're looking into conditioners. We're looking into lotion for after a bath. So there's a few things on the list. There's some novelty things also that are kind of fun that people have asked us for, and that's more like bath salts that are relaxing, maybe lavender that are very soothing and relaxing. But again, we want to stick with the fragrance free in the beginning, and that's what we're going to extend. And then we'll add some other things later.
Lori, tell us like what advice do you have for aspiring entrepreneurs, especially those like entering the beauty and personal care industry?
I would say when I first started, you're going to laugh, but what I did was when I wanted to create something, this is right at the beginning, years ago, I Googled women making soap in Brooklyn. Okay. And so that's what I did. And I found some individuals and I contacted them. And one of them was so helpful. She has a brand, and actually it's in Target. But she gave me all her vendors. She gave me so much advice starting out. And so I would say advice to others is just get started and ask others for help. People are willing to share, and it's such a wonderful community. And I would really suggest reaching out, joining groups. There's lots of, I'm sure, Facebook groups and others that are willing to share. Your podcast, of course, is another resource, all these different resources, and just reach out and ask questions because people will share. I mean, you shouldn't get stuck on something like not being able to find a certain ingredient or, oh, here's another thing I would suggest. And this is what was recommended to me. Don't start in the kitchen. So I outsourced immediately. So I got a chemist. She's like, don't start making it yourself and then have to bring it to a chemist and a manufacturing. Just start there. And that's what I did when I found a small batch place because I didn't want 10,000 bottles in my home. So we did a small batch. And so that's what I would also recommend when you start out, start small, test it. take the feedback, and continue to improve. It will never be its final form in its first iteration. So it'll always evolve, and that's okay.
Oh, I love that feedback so much, or I love that advice so much. I totally agree too. When I first started my businesses, reaching out to strangers online, it became like my best form of resources because I didn't have friends nearby that were doing the same thing or family or anything. So it became like friends online, sometimes close, sometimes on the other side of the country, that gave me like the most amazing advice,
Mhm.
including Lauren, by the way. Any other insights or anything that you would share with entrepreneurs that are starting their own business?
Well, I've started a few businesses. So I would just say in the beginning, and this was also advice that was given to me years ago when I did my cafe, is don't spend a lot in the beginning, because things will change. And so try, and I'm very much a bootstrapper. So I really enjoy doing a lot of the work myself, which I think is also important as another rule of thumb. Like if you need to learn how to do everything before you delegate it also, but know what you're good at and know what needs to be delegated. But I think you have to understand everything when you start to create a business. But then ask for help. Once you get to a certain level that it's not your place to be doing everything, then to outsource it. But to also just be careful about spending more than you really need. A lot of people think that they need everything all new in the beginning, but things are going to change. So, start with the basics, test things out, and then continue to adapt.
Yeah, I think testing is so important. I mean, you really want to get that feedback from people because if you don't have that feedback, then you don't know how to improve it and you don't know what people are reacting to sometimes. So, responding to. So, yeah, is there anything else you'd like to share about your launch and how can people find your product?
Yeah. So, well, one other thing I think I would like to share, which I think is really important and to our values, is that we are donating all the net profits, not even 10%, like all net profits from this product, and the product line as we extend it will be going to nonprofits that support the needs of kids in this community. So we'll be selecting different nonprofits from time to time, different projects to fund. So whether we do something on a national level and give money to Autism Speaks, or at a local level and a sensory gym, we really want to support lots of different nonprofits. So that I think is a very important thing. So this is a social venture that we're doing. And you can find the product. We have a website. It's only one SKU right now, but it's available for purchase on our website and also on Amazon. So the name of it is raisingjunior.co is the website, and you can also find it on Amazon.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Lori. We really enjoyed having you on our podcast and everything that you shared with everybody. Um, I think that's it. So that's again another episode of Entrepreneur Mind Speak, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.